Maida, Chantal Kreviazuk, nice to see you.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for coming. And Raine, I'm sorry you just came here this morning.
Anything for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Is it nice to be back in Canada? Do you guys come back a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we have a home here.
Oh, do you really? In Toronto? Oh, so that's nice. And so the kids get to come up
walk
here. And
to the CBC building.
It's funny, our children love, or our oldest son loves this place now. It's the
They
first
all
time he
do.
got to experience Toronto as like a 15-year-old, and like he could walk up Yonge Street on his own.
We have
walks
to
out
like
the door.
get him home.
That
Like,
stuff
he's
that I
gone-
know as a kid, I'm seeing it through his eyes now, which is pretty cool.
this is quite a documentary you guys made. I got a chance to watch
That's
it.
it for about the kid talk. We're going right.
Yeah, because I've been putting it off. I'm not kidding around. The reason I'm done with the kid talk is because this was interesting for me to watch. It's quite revealing. It does really feel like a window into some difficult moments in your lives, and I have a bunch of questions about it. So I'm going to play a clip right now. And as I said before the interview started, I was like, oh, this might be a bit uncomfortable. And Raine rightly pointed out, I think we've seen this thing a bunch of times, man. Like,
Saw it this morning in our real life. So
oh, for God's sake.
We kind of live it.
All right, so that's where I want to start this conversation here. Take a listen to this.
Be
Lost
simple.
there.
Why does it have to be simple? Who are we playing to? It's our.
Oh, give me a fucking break. Are you serious right now?
Why are you yelling and swearing at me?
And I'm telling you how I feel. Like, it doesn't feel right to go to that part.
Okay, I'm not okay with you yelling at me and saying, "Give me an effing break." You can imagine. Did you not imagine that it would be a little bit of a, like kind of out of left field that you would cancel a part of the song?
I'm not canceling it. I'm just saying, can we put it somewhere else?
That's not what you were saying. And regardless of that, it's something I adore. Like when we've had the chance to
I've
do
heard
it.
that.
So that's the two of you in a hotel room writing the song "I'm Going to Break Your Heart" very early on in the film. I'm so glad you're laughing. Chantal, first with you, when you hear that, how do you feel?
I love it. I think it's awesome. I don't know how to express how the arc to my personal experience of seeing the first edit of this film. And I think I didn't speak for about 24 hours. And Raine said, "So you're not saying much. What do you think?" And I said, you can put that out, but I won't be alive, And now to get where I am.
You can put that up and I won't be alive like you were.
I would kill myself, I said,
Yeah.
if anyone ever saw that.
Oh.
And then I just can see like my own personal growth through the editing of it, the growth, we made as musicians, as people, as the whole thing is just amazing to me. And to be able to sit here and just kind of laugh and
Yeah.
You have to be able to laugh at, we're perfectionists. We really mean it when we sit to write a song together. We really mean it when we're making decisions as a couple. So when you're in it, it gets hot, But I think it's really a gift to be able to look back at something on film, like any coach would show a player, an athlete. Look at what you're doing here, and notice how you could pivot a little there. Like, it's a gift. So I don't know. I feel like I've just come so far with it, and I'm fine.
Raine?
I mean, there's a few things for me there. First of all, yelling. I mean, when I think of yelling, I think of like Pacino or De Niro, like really yelling. So that's not yelling.
So you're sticking in still. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then the other thing, it's like, I don't know, someone smart once said, like the worst thing that can happen to creativity is common sense. And I think that's kind of what we did with this. We just went to this island, filmed it all. And if you were to, I don't know, if we were to probably listen to outside forces, and I think a lot of people would have said, don't put this out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah, there was a lot of, and that's actually, I think, and I would tell any artist.
But he asked me the question.
I know, but you should be uncomfortable, and otherwise it's not good
I'm feeling
art.
better every minute.
Yeah. Anyway, the thing is, it is about being uncomfortable, but at the same time, you have to there was an authenticity, especially because the whole thing was to show the process of us writing this album together, because we'd never written anything together ever. And I think if we would have come back and edited out all the personal stuff, it wouldn't, like, there's no context for how we got to those songs.
Yeah.
Like, we're working on "I'm Gonna Break Your Heart" in that little clip you played, and that was an important part, like fighting over a pre-chorus, trying to see not who wins, but like just how that process works. And the personal dynamic is like, we're together. Like,
We wouldn't have been
intrinsic, right?
We wouldn't have been able to actually show the collaboration at all without showing our dynamic, which isn't perfect. I mean, it's not. I mean, some days it's amazing. Some days we crack up at how good, like we do play by play and we're like, wow, we sure worked that out in such a beautiful way. But other days we don't.
I think some of my favorite moments of the film was where if you guys were working on a song, ostensibly working on a song, but given that you were discussing, oh no, this is the moment where I say this. Oh, no, you need to put this moment in where I apologize, or this moment where I say, if you die, I will stay here. I will be the soldier for you. It almost felt like a covert way of actually talking about your own relationship through the guise of writing a song.
Well,
right?
that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole premise for us doing this project together was if we were going to somewhat be, I guess, brave with the lyrics. Like we felt if we're just going to go write songs, forget it. Like that's boring to us, I think. So it's like we've been in this relationship for however long. We've done things so separately. So if we're going to come together, then we really have to push it on the lyrical front. And I think that's what we have, I guess, license to do because we've been together. It's like we can say shit that people haven't said.
Right. We're not uncomfortable with it because we're not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like it would just be another phase or moment or stage. It doesn't matter, no matter how bad it even got. And actually, something we've been saying is as awkward and uncomfortable as a few of the moments are in the film, nothing really horrible happens. I don't throw a pot at Raine's head or
I never really yelled.
He doesn't like, it never gets so bad. No, there's no infidelity. There's nothing that's really that horrible. But I think what we probably do reveal is that there's a gloss over on people and whether they're private or public people. And we only show this one side of ourselves now. And we're all losing, this thing called dynamics and true reality. And yeah.
Well, was it conscious like that? Like, John Updike said famously, let my life be a lived life that all lived lives can be judged against. Was it like that? Like, let our relationship be a symbolic relationship that all relationships can empathize with.
I feel that.
I don't think it's that clever, but I think in terms of...
I felt that and I feel that. I feel like I really want people to insert themselves, and they do. They watch the film and they see themselves in that couple.
I just want them to like the music. But I do see Chantal's point in the sense of it's really interesting what the film has done in terms of people being able to watch it through their own lens and see themselves in it. Because I think there is so much normalcy, really, what's going in terms of the dynamic. So I think that's if there's like a redeeming quality of like all, because it was hard to do. Like just it's such a big project. It took so long where you can write a song in an afternoon and record it and throw it out there. This is like, it's taken a while.
It's hard to do is the making of the film or the writing of the songs, or
just the whole project. Like it actually took like 6 years to really do it.
Right.
Like it wasn't until we booked a film crew and had responsibilities like, oh, you're going to come to St. Pierre with us with your cameras and your sound equipment, and we're going to stay in this hotel for a few weeks, and had those responsibilities, because otherwise we would have just canceled it if it was just us, because we kept doing that over and over. It's like we wrote a song called I Love It When You Make Me Beg 6 years ago, and it was this incredible moment late at night in our home studio, and felt like, oh, we'll just over the next 2 months this will just take on a life of its own, and we'll have an album and we'll do this. And then 6 years later we hadn't done anything.
It's kind of like I'll fix that wood panel, or I'll
fix
get to that light in the fridge.
Yeah.
and
right.
It's just something you.
I mean, that's
really
something we
hard
all
to
do, though.
That's it.
In our professional relationships and our personal relationships, we tend to put that stuff off.
Yeah.
When you're performing, say, "I'm Going to Break Your Heart," obviously you're performers and you get on stage and you can. I just know from performing myself, I'm not always consistently thinking about the deep intrinsic meaning of the song I'm performing. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next. I'm thinking about how's the set going. I'm incredibly anxious the entire time, and why isn't that third person in the third row,
right,
looking at me?
Yeah. Why they're on their phones?
But this is a little bit different. Are you finding, are you able to perform the songs without having these things go through your head?
I'm actually performing the song and having that experience. I have a few songs in my own catalog as a solo artist that I feel that way, but this is, for me, it embodies my relationship, my life. When I open my mouth and sing, and I look out and he's singing with me or across the stage, it's so powerful to me, and I am really in it. I am in the meaning, and it's really powerful to finally have this authentic of an experience as an artist in that respect. And I think I am a little bit distanced from the tech this or the who's
the
that.
rider
I
that,
just
or
can go
right
into my husband's loving eyes.
I think what's really interesting is how dynamic it is, because it's not like, hey, we're going we're gonna play on cue, and she flew in from somewhere else, and we met and we rehearsed and then we did it. It's like we live together and are together all the time. So there's all this outside stuff. Like, we literally could have been in a fight. This is a good day, and we weren't before we talked to you.
I thought we were kind of.
But not really.
Okay.
But there are moments when we go on stage where it's like we are not happy together, and it's so alive that way. And I think I'm slowly becoming addicted to it, because it makes for a performance or a discussion, it's so real, because there is this constant dynamic, and it's just so changing, and
I'm looking for some stability in it, and he's still thriving on that.
no, it's the most pure I've ever
it's very
felt
pure.
that
I
art
understand.
could be.
I want to talk about more about the personal side of this record and more about the personal side of the documentary in just a second. But I'm curious about you guys as artists as well. So Chantal, I'll start with you then. Like, when you guys were writing together, do you feel like you sort of learned something new about Raine as a writer, as an artist?
Yeah, I do. I keep trying to articulate it. It's not easy to describe that. It wouldn't be easy to describe how many people that I've collaborated with roll.
Yeah.
You know, it's very difficult to find the words to describe it. But what I'm most impressed with is that he has a dedication about his process, and he's very patient, and he doesn't back down from it. He really can sort of commit to the flow of a thought and live with it and go with it. And it's really beautiful to watch. And what is so neat about the film is that really happens on the song I Can Change. It starts, and you watch the song be born from its first lick and chord through to the lyrics, and then recording it. And that's actually what's on the album too, just like that. And so I'm so glad that's been captured, because that's what I get to experience with him. It's a quiet, humble, amazing thing. And I feel really lucky
there's no
to.
yelling.
Well, no, there's that. But, you know, just in terms of kind of being able to go inside of his mind a little bit now better, I just feel really lucky to have been there to witness that.
Raine, how about you? What did you learn about Chantal as an artist, as a songwriter?
I mean, I don't. Honest to God, I don't know. I think as this Moon vs. Sun project, I think there's something interesting in terms of just still figuring it out. I think this process, catching it on film, was interesting because you see that we're trying to figure out where we sing together, what kind of songs we're writing, what the tone is, what the timbre of our voices are, and kind of chord progressions and stuff, even instrumentation. But I just reaffirm for me, in terms of anytime we've written for other artists or been in a studio together, the thing about Chantal that's incredible is, you know, you work with other people, and if you're parallel it with like painting, you have maybe 3 colors on that palette that you can pull from with them. And with Chantal, really, it's like literally you have the full spectrum. You have a rainbow, and she's such a accomplished pianist and singer, and you know, she's got perfect pitch. You can go anywhere and have that luxury to try things immediately and pull from whatever part of her brain.
I'm a jukebox hero.
Yeah.
You're like Foreigner.
Yeah. It's it's a luxury to have.
If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Raine, Maida, and Chantal Kreviazuk about their new project, I'm Going to Break Your Heart, which is a documentary with an intimate look at their marriage and also their creative process. I want to go back to, you know, what I said about, you know, we live our lives publicly so that other lives can be judged against, and we talked a little bit about that. But take me back to the germ of the idea of why you think this film needed to be done.
I mean, it literally was a conduit to make an album, because I don't think it would have happened.
So it wasn't about, hey, let's show our relationship at its bones.
It was literally like, we're never going to finish this album if we don't commit to something. And a friend of ours, who's a producer in LA, just said, you got to film it, because she's seen us live and she saw the dynamic. She thought that's worth getting. And I really wanted to capture the writing process because I've never really done that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just by virtue of capturing I Can Change from like the inception, what you see in the lyric in the hotel room, to being recorded, and that's what we performed here, and that's what's on the album. For that moment alone, it's a huge success for
it's
me.
worth it.
And and like I said, the other stuff, the relationship, you can't really have one without the other.
Mm-hmm. But did you, at the end of this process of both the album and the documentary, do you feel like you were able to find each other's like emotional home again? That's the quote that's in the counseling. Like, did that help with that process?
Yeah. I think that for the personalities we are, it's what I think is healthy is the communication and the like having a sort of toolbox, if you will, right? Like I need to be able to say to my husband, I don't feel great right now. Help me feel better. Like help me feel, be my warmth, be my whatever.
Yeah.
I have to be able to use those words. I'm strangely articulate about everything, but doing marriage coaching makes you realize that there's stuff missing, and that I have work to do. He has work to do. We have work to do, and so that's been awesome because I always like to think of when I write a song, I should say exactly what's going on in my personal life. I shouldn't think. I shouldn't try to project. I shouldn't go in someone else's mind. I should write from my own voice, my own narrative. And for me, therein lies the opportunity for other people to see themselves and to grow or transform or feel better, be comforted. And I sort of think it's the same thing as Raine and I, allowing somebody to work with us on our communication as a married couple. I'm assuming, because I'm a human and he's a human and we're a couple and we're experiencing those things, probably most people that are couples are. That's my assumption as a human being.
But do you feel like your relationship changed watching it back on the screen?
Of course.
Yeah, I think it reaffirms a lot of things. I mean, it's easier. Like if you paid me $1 million, I couldn't change the oil in our car.
Right.
But even though it's been done 100 times, but watching our film back and just hearing Dr. John's voice and words, and like you said, that even the quote that you pulled, you're each other's emotional home. Is that
That's
the word
right.
you said?
Find each other's emotional home.
Yeah, like that stuff just starts to stick more. And again, it's almost like music in the sense of when you listen to yourself back, you hear the nuances. You feel like there's points where you can kind of dig in and get better at things. And then same thing with him. Like I don't. Most people that probably do any kind of coaching or therapy you don't film it. So it's a really interesting thing to film it and have that be able to play back for you.
Well, I said that should be the project, is getting people to film themselves working together or in coaching so that they can see what's going on. You don't think the look on your face is like you ate poop, but maybe
There's a point where in the film, I don't know if I call you stupid or I said stupid. I said, that's stupid. But I mean, up until like watching the film 20 times, I would have still swore I never said that.
Right.
So I think there's like a evidence of life there that's really interesting.
And okay, that right off the bat, like the first 5 minutes of the film is where the first marriage counseling happens. And I guess when I go to therapy, which is a kind of a new thing for me, when I go, I just can't believe there exists a room where I can fully say exactly whatever I want without fear of judgment, without fear of anyone judging me. So I can't begin to tell you how intimate it felt to be present in a therapy session. Like it was incredibly
it's called
intimate.
coaching.
Right.
He's not actually a therapist.
Okay.
He's a marriage coach. He was the head of the Stanford Neurology Lab for 15 years.
But either way, it's an incredibly private thing. Most people wouldn't have a...
Yeah, I mean, it's...
But if you were to see us live, it's pretty much that.
It's pretty.
What do you mean?
Much...
The show, like a performance. Yeah.
When we go play live, and we've been doing this on and off for
years,
for like 4 or 5 years, just little shows, but it really will. It gets into that, and so
we're used
sitting
to
in front of someone who we trust. It really isn't. It's not that big of a deal.
But I guess it's not sitting in front of someone you trust. It's like sitting in front of someone you trust.
Plus cameras.
Plus the cameras. Like how do you escape?
Are you saying you don't want to film your next therapy appointment? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm saying apparently I can do it and make a couple of bucks off it. Maybe it'll be all right. I mean,
well, tell me when you make money.
I'll give you 10%. It'll be really, really great.
We get the commission for that.
Hope you like Tim Hortons. How do you deal with the idea that people might see this film? And I say this with great respect. How do you deal with the fact that someone might see this film and worried about them perhaps judging you?
Oh well, let him judge away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is my only judge right here.
judging how in terms of
Well, you're offering a lot. You're offering the darkest moments of your relationship, and the darkest moments that we were privy to.
Right.
And I would wonder that
It
people
gets darker.
Well, you got to admit, you got to imagine that it does, right? So you have to imagine that also, people might be sitting in the movie theater going, "Oh God."
I don't like them. Is
Yeah.
that kind of what you're getting
I don't know.
at?
I mean,
don't
I think
like
when you
them.
open yourself up artistically, there's a fear of judgment that's easily quashed by the fact that this is an artistic statement. This is my art. When you offer something personal, a window into your personal lives, the judgment might feel different.
I mean, I just go back to the fact that I don't think you can't have the art without the other stuff because we're married, because we're together. It's like they go hand in hand, and that's what they drive each other. So I just don't know how you separate them.
If they don't like us, maybe they'll like the music at least, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
I mean, look, if there's a risk involved, I think at this point in our lives, I think it's actually there's something a little euphoric about it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
taking a risk like that, where it's like maybe
I agree.
there was moments when we felt a little like I could definitely see moments where I maybe 5 years ago would have been more insecure about, like, I'm not letting someone see that.
Well, see, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about people not liking you, because I don't actually think that's entirely possible in the watching of the film. I'm going back to almost the first thing.
Okay, then I'm good.
The first thing you said, Chantal, which is to Raine, I don't want anyone to ever see that. I don't want anyone to ever see that.
Right.
That has to come from a place of I don't want people to judge
Well,
me.
I think that the first edit I saw, remember the editing process was at least a year long. Okay. The first edit had too much, if you want to talk about palette, too much black and gray.
Yeah.
And not enough of the light.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm speaking about it maybe more from an artistic point of view, that by the time, I got back up, I was like Rocky many times and kept, giving it another chance. And the edit got better, and our light did live. And it is in there. And to me now, the arc of the film is there's character development, there's funnies all over, there's LOLs, it's fun. Like there's a ride there now. And so I'm not as bummed out. I'm actually excited now. That's kind of it. But those dark things you're talking about, I kind of think that the world needs that. Artistically, it needs it. Emotionally. I'm excited about it.
I've never written a song in my life when I've been happy. So I don't even know what that would look like, I mean, it would be very inauthentic to not have this darkness kind of pervade. Like, we went to this island that was 4 flights away from where we live in
Freezing
Los
cold.
Angeles, away from our kids who were, slightly traumatized about all. It was the middle of winter.
Really upset being that far away from the kids for that long. I was having a raging depression that you don't really see because of the kids.
Have they seen the film?
I mean, bits and pieces. But
I think later on, this was, part of the process for me of wanting to record it, because I think they'll probably learn more from us from this film later on than ever sitting down, like, trying to give them some sort of daddy talk or something. They don't listen to that shit.
Right.
Same thing with the music. I think they'll listen to it and see, like, wow, our parents,
they do love the music.
they try. Yeah, they like the music. They try to, like, they're trying to get better in communication, because they see it with us. Like, every day there's little heartbreaks and failures, and
we talk about this stuff, with each other, and then the kids are witnessing it. And what's so neat now is the kids have a bit of a license with those tools too. Like the other day, Raine and I were being perfectionists, sitting in the front seat of the car on the way to like the gym or something with the kids, and we were just kind of bickering. And our middle son, he was like, "Oh my God, you guys." And it allowed us to laugh because he's been given this, I think, equipment for life. It's exciting. I think we should evolve to where communicating and learning how to love each other through our various genders or our stages of life. I'm not the same person that Raine married. I'm not. I hope my essence is, but I've had 3 kids. I'm angry a lot of the time and hormonal. And you put up with my crap. I put up with yours. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, and we're just different now, and we need to be able to. I want the full meal deal. I want him as my partner for life. I want the history. I want the fairy tale storybook romance. I do. And so if I'm to have that, I have to do the real work. And
I think it's also important to see that, you know, we do have 3 boys, and hopefully the film shows like this movement towards equity, you know, especially at this time in history with Me Too movement, everything that's going on. It's like our boys need to grow up probably different than I did, you know.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
From the triggers from my parents and their,
Yep.
you know, their parents. So there's something there that I think is like that you know, it's actual evolution that I think we're trying to like hint at and like work towards. And it's work, right? It takes generations, but
I think
it's a process.
I think what needs to be noted when Raine brings up equity, you know, women talking is not new. You know, I think some of the things that I say, sure, there'll be women going, yeah, she's saying it. Men need it, you know, and I get to be that champion a little bit in the movie.
Yeah.
But the reality is that it's not new for women to be trying to move towards something evolved. And I think the real opportunity or hero or whatever you want to call it here is that my husband is man enough to be able to start to share in the conversation with me, with women. And I think that takes a lot of confidence. And I'm incredibly proud that that's my husband. And I can say my husband's willing to do that. I think that's the big risk, if you will, but it's awesome.
Well, that leads me to how I want to conclude things. It's like halfway through the interview, I said, like, by doing this record, by performing together, by writing together, by making this documentary, what did you learn about each other as creators? Which leads me to, of course, the greater question, like, what did you learn about each other as partners in a relationship through making this thing? And I'll let whoever wants to go first on that.
You go.
What do we learn? I mean, I think it's
About each other? What do we learn about the
I think what you learned about each other.
Okay.
Or what you learned about a relationship.
About a relationship. Okay.
Or a relationship, for
Yeah.
God's sake.
I mean, I think the most important thing is that we're both committed to it, committed to doing the work. Because I think it stops and starts there. Like if you can't go into that room, whether it's trying to write a song or dissect something that's wrong personally, if you're not committed to finding a solution and working through it, then you're setting yourself up to fail, you know? And I think I've seen that numerous times as an artist where it's like you walk in a room and you don't have, you know, an ultimate confidence of what you're going to leave with, or it just kind of goes off the rails and you bail on it. And that's easy to do sometimes as an artist. But when you have a life and a family together, I think for some people it's still easy to do. For us, I think we've made that commitment. And I think, you know, you see that both in the music and, you know, with Dr. John.
I think I have always thought that Raine was I don't want to say necessarily a feminist, but definitely an equalist. I mean, I've never felt insecure that I was lesser because I was a female. I mean, maybe it's me. I went to a girls' school. I never really worried about that stuff.
I probably go
confident.
too far. I don't even believe in chivalry.
Yeah. No, I want him to do like I see like people opening door, and I'm like, oh, I might like that a little bit. I don't know, but what I think is, you know, it's what Raine is willing to do in this is super macro, right? Because he's sharing it with everyone, and that's insanely amazing. And then it's twice-fold amazing, and I can't help but fall in love with him. No matter how mad I am about something, I can't help but be just blown away by him, because then he's not only in that big ways telling such a
recording
personal
this, right?
thing. Well, yeah,
I'll have it as an
back.
MP3 for you later. Don't worry about that.
But look at what he's within it saying. He's committed to the micro. And women are so, like we're so, you know, detailed on this stuff. And I think mostly men are just going, oh my God, I don't even know what you're saying right now. Shut up. Like, I can't even hear you. It's insane. And he's just willing to go to the depths with me for us, for our family. And I just think that's amazing. I don't know. I would encourage people to do something together that they didn't think they could do, because within that discovery, you know, when we are discovering something new together here, and it's really amazing. I'm just really amazed by you.
Congratulations on the film, guys, and the record.
Thank you.
Thanks.